Chinese New Year is one of the biggest celebrations in Singapore, a time when families gather, feasts are shared, and traditions are honored. But let's talk about something interesting. What happens to the city during this festive period? Is it really the ghost town that people always talk about? Or have times changed? Before we dive in, let's set the context. Chinese New Year is traditionally a time when businesses close for the holiday, especially the Chinese-owned establishments. The streets used to go quiet, with most people staying indoors to celebrate with family. For years, people have described Singapore as a ghost town during CNY. Here we are in Chinatown, the heart of Chinese New Year celebrations here in Singapore. Well, this area is usually busy on the days leading up to the celebration, but what actually happens when the celebration begins? Okay, so we actually have a mission here to actually find out whether it's Singapore. Is it really a ghost town in Singapore like during Chinese New Year?
Oh, what is it?
But look at it, man, like, it's just a lot of people. So
I don't know who told you that it's gonna be a ghost town. Yeah, I don't believe them.
I mean, it's always been like that. Like, like in the past, like whenever it hits Chinese New Year, it's always empty. Like all the shops are closed. Why do I feel like our mission failed here? Like trying to find out whether is it a ghost town here in Chinatown.
There won't be.
Just look around me. Do I want to call it a ghost town now? Yeah, look at this.
What?
Try to figure this out. That's good marketing.
But you look at that. Mama in Chinatown. That's something I don't see every day.
Yo, wait, there's just a lot of people. There's a crowd. But I'm pretty sure that it's about 90% of them are tourists.
I'm pretty sure about that too. That's what I feel.
I've not heard any of my local Chinese friends who goes to Chinatown on Chinese New Year. They are usually at home spending time with their family.
You wanna try one?
I don't know, like...
I can call a friend.
I don't know if times have changed. I see Yakun in the front. Should we go and check it out and see if it's open or do they remain closed?
I have bad news for you. It looks closed.
Okay, change of plans. Yakun is closed. So we're gonna find something else. So we're heading into Chinatown complex. I think this is a much more localized area. Starting to feel the quietness as we are entering into this Chinatown complex. Yeah. So we're gonna head up to the hawker center at level 2 and we try to see if any of the shops are open. So
I need kopi.
So I think what we're trying to find out whether Singapore is it really a ghost town. Now that we're in a much more localized area, you can actually see
the actual ghosts.
Most of the shops here are
closed.
Actually see like shops opening on Chinese New Year. Do they even celebrate Chinese New Year or?
I'll bet you they have their reasons.
Hello.
The one kopi and one kopi C.
Drink here?
Yes. Like finally, man. Coffee. It's been a morning, man.
One hell of a morning.
I think the questions that we wanna get answers to is like, do you think like the shops and restaurants here, local vendors, are they actually closing on the Chinese New Year, like on this festive season, or do they choose to remain open so that they could cater to the tourists or the foreigners here? Because from what we have seen just now, like it's a lot of people. Like it's all of the gift shops are open, the souvenirs shops are open, and based on what I've observed, I think 90% of them are tourists.
Yeah. So, just to add to context to whatever your opinion was, I think you're right. Majority of the business here seem to close because there are simply no demand from the local residents.
Right.
But if you've seen in the stretch of that tourists along Pagoda Street, I believe they choose to remain open because the demand is actually higher on the public holiday. Seems like no different from a weekend crowd.
So then I guess it goes to my next question. Like, they are taking this advantage.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Right?
If I can get $300 more today, why not? That's a lot of money.
But then if I were to turn it around, like, let's say for Hari Raya or Deepavali, I think it doesn't work that way, right? Like,
no, I don't think so. But I do believe that times are changing on that matter. I do know some families or some hustlers who still choose to remain open for half the day on Hari Raya. Why? Because, you know, the closure is not as bad when it's on those festive seasons.
I think what you say makes sense. You got a good point there. Okay, now I'm curious. If we are seeing like a high influx of tourists here in Chinatown, like how do you think the MBS is gonna be? Like the city area, the Suntec area, the Orchard area. I assume it's gonna be much more livelier.
Yeah, okay. Let's do some quick mathematics. Okay, close to about 75% of the population is ethnic Chinese. Okay? If we just look at that as a pure average, I would say screw all of that, it will still be crowded.
Next up, we're at Marina Bay Sands, a place that never really sleeps. Wait, even on Chinese New Year? Let's see if this modern global side of Singapore meets tradition. Dude, how is this even Chinese New Year, man? It feels like an ordinary Sunday, man. It's interesting to see like local brands like Toastbox, Bread Talk. It's open, man.
So, you think this is still a ghost town?
No, we are almost halfway through MBS, but I don't even see like one shop that's closed yet, man. That was close, man. He was giving us that stare. Okay, we need to make this much more interesting, man. If we can find a shop that's closed, I think we've accomplished our mission here.
Okay. Challenge accepted, let's go.
Dude, I think we're gonna lose the challenge, man.
Yeah.
I don't see any shops that's closed.
Exactly. Look, Armani
Everything
Exchange
is open, man.
that's open, this is open. Everything's open.
I like how they put the containers outside of the MBS area. Like, it feels like a different place outside. Okay, so we've actually seen like how Marina Bay Sands is during CNY. Like, dude, I can't even find one shop that was closed, man. Based on what we have observed earlier on at the MBS, are luxury brands and international businesses here keeping their doors open to cater to tourists during the holidays?
Yeah, 100%. I didn't see a single store closed down. I seen all of them are actually operating as usual.
Yeah.
Well, I do see a little bit of less traffic, but it's still there. The demand is still very strong for these people. All the tourists are here, you know. It's just a non-stop thing.
I don't think the footfall was lesser, man. Like, I mean, it was lesser because there's no locals, I assume. That's not around.
I would assume so, but yeah, I mean, you and I have been here over the weekends. You know, we've seen how crowded
Correct.
it can get.
Yeah, but I think like in terms of the footfall for tourists, you can actually see like 90% of them.
Yeah, 90% of them were tourists today.
It could even be 100%. I don't even know whether there's locals that's walking around MBS during Chinese New Year.
That's right.
Like,
We'll never know. We'll figure it out. But as of today, at least. As of today.
I mean, like what we have seen earlier on compared to Chinatown, like those were literally like local businesses. These are like international
brands.
retail brands. Yeah. You can actually see. I mean, like it makes sense for the international brands to stay open, to remain open, because I mean, if the employees were Chinese, they could have,
or maybe they have given their Chinese staff off.
Yeah.
But again, it does not make any financial sense for them to close during such a hot period. No?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Compared to the local establishments that we have seen in Chinatown.
Plus the rent is expensive.
And that brings us to the next thing. Like, if MBS is crowded, do you think the Orchard area, will it be a ghost town or will it still be crowded like how it is at MBS? Now, let's check out Orchard Road, Singapore's iconic shopping belt. This is where people flock for retail therapy. But what really happens during Chinese New Year? Oh, we have finally reached the Orchard area.
Yep.
So, I mean, my guess, I'm assuming that most of the shops here are going to remain open. I mean, just based on what I'm seeing at the front.
I don't know, man.
But, there's a but. I'm assuming as well that the shops may have adjusted their working hours or opening hours, maybe like closing off a bit earlier or maybe starting a bit later.
Let's take a bet. Let's take a bet that at least one store is closed. Hopefully.
Let's do that. At least give us one store that's closed. I mean,
let me win something.
I think we can find any shops that's closed. Just from one glance, everything is open.
No,
I mean, we're seeing familiar brands like those international.
we're still in the
Brands.
underground levels, so let's walk out a little bit more.
Alright, yeah, let's go, let's go.
So there's a food court down here. We'll see if that's open.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Yeah. By the looks of it, I don't think it's closed, but
Oh yeah, it's open.
there's a lot of people there.
Let's go.
Business as usual. Yeah, but do you think that most of them are locals or are they foreigners?
Again, I think it's the same case with MBS.
Have you found it?
Oh, wow. Local?
Are they closed?
They're close.
But there's no signage saying that it's closed for CNY. It may be closed for. Oh, wait. PH.
Damn.
So it's open actually. It's starting late. No, it's closed.
It's close.
Oh, we found one that's closed. But we don't know whether is it due to the Chinese New Year PH or.
It is. It says close for PH.
I think we may have found another one.
Oh.
Are we seeing it? Are we
There
seeing
it is, there it is.
Yeah, it's closed.
Oh, but they open back on the 31st.
Yeah, so that's Friday. I think everything else seems to be pretty much
Yeah,
Like-
it's,
any other weekend.
Except
Everything
there
is
is-
open as per normal.
it's just a little bit quieter, but
Yeah. Usually it's always crowded at the front, at the atrium here.
yeah, but no difference. Everything's still moving. Everything's still open, except for those two that we found. No biggie.
Escalator getting an off day as well. You can see that it's less crowded.
Yeah.
Probably not inclusive of all the locals around here.
Dude, you know how I would describe this kind of traffic? It is literally Orchard without the Singaporeans.
Oh, that.
Like, we've been to Marina Bay without the Singaporeans.
Oh, we've been to Chinatown without Singaporeans.
Yeah.
Now we're in Orchard without the Singaporeans. I think.
Yeah. Of,
You know, like how you said that this is Orchard Road without Singaporeans,
Mm.
but it's just foreigners. But look at the tourists and foreigners doing Singaporean things.
that's
Queuing
good.
up.
It's called embracing the culture. The crowd is not convincing though.
Yeah, it looks pretty quiet here in Ngee City, but we shall find out. Okay, this is a sign. Says business as usual.
I don't see Takashimaya there at all.
Ah, so it means that only this retail stores are open. We can officially confirm that Takashimaya is closed during Chinese New Year. There you go. We have found a ghost town or ghost area here in Orchard. So you can see that the entire Ngee City and Takashimaya is actually closed during CNY. There you go. It's all closed. Yeah. Sephora's closed. Aesop's closed. And there's literally no one here. Oh, it's
Well deserved after a
well,
long
this is a
morning.
meal, man. After a long morning. Okay, so based on what we have seen in Orchard just now, like, are malls and retail stores adjusting their hours or do they stay closed for the holiday? I mean, I'll start with you first, man.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they're adjusting it. But also it's come to a realization that it's not the very big ones actually. More of the smaller ones because they are closed. Like either for one day or for both days. Completely closed.
Correct.
I mean, you saw it earlier on with
Correct.
the case of, I think it was it Swarovski?
Swarovski, yeah,
Yeah.
it was closed.
It was only closed for one day.
Oh yeah, the notice says it was only closed
Yeah.
for the first day, right?
So that means to say that there are brands who just only adjust for one day. I guess it also means that they have enough manpower.
I think usually it's only the eve of the public holidays that they adjust the opening hours. Like it's
Yeah.
either closed like super early. Like, I mean, it was a lot of the shops that I saw and I went to on the eve, which was the day before the first day of Chinese New Year. Like most of the shops were closing like in mid-afternoon by 1:30 or 2 p.m. Everyone's going to close for a day.
Yeah.
And then I mean bigger chains are closing like 5 p.m. for the day. So I mean, like they will allow their employees to go home and spend time with their family to prepare for the Chinese New Year's. I mean, that's good.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
I mean, for certain bigger brands that we saw, especially the department stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that we saw was
What?
Isetan and Takashimaya.
Yeah, both were closed for the day.
Yes, exactly. But I didn't realize whether was it only the first day or second day. I didn't see the notice for that. So yeah, I think we can actually see like a balance of shops
Yeah.
that were open and closed in along the stretch of Orchard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean unlike the Marina Bay Sands, we can actually see
Yeah.
that everything was open. It was like a normal day in Marina Bay Sands.
Right.
Yeah, so you can actually see like
No, on a fun topic, on a fun side topic, walking through the deserted Takashimaya, actually that kind of reminds me of a few years ago. Remember when COVID happened?
oh yes, the circuit breaker.
Yeah,
So,
the circuit breaker. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I have not seen such a ghost town since then. Honestly.
To be walking along Orchard Road for a moment, you know you can never get this on any normal days because
Yeah.
it's very very quiet, it's very empty, and you can get to walk there peacefully. Yeah, but at the same time, when we walk along the skirts of Orchard Road, like outside, there's a lot of foreigners, there's a lot of tourists that goes there to like do their shopping.
But I just want to point out that you can visibly see the lack of locals in every single place we visited today.
Exactly, like you feel that there's a lower footfall in these tough places, but it's due to the locals not being present,
Yeah.
and it kind of like not feel like it was Singapore, you know?
Yeah, it kind of felt like, I don't know, where were we at? Yeah, there was a bunch of Chinese tourists, there was a
Yeah.
bunch of Philippine tourists. It just feels like a hot pot of all the cultures in Southeast Asia.
Yes, exactly. So that's why you feel like it for once it wasn't like Singapore. Right? Yeah, I could feel like the malls and everything. It felt like it was like another mall in Bangkok or
Yeah.
or in like Kuala Lumpur. So it felt that way. Like I could really feel that in MBS actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so to redefine whether is Singapore actually a ghost town during this Chinese New Year period.
What would you say?
Okay, my thoughts would be that I would define the word ghost town as that loss of local community, that sense of local community in hotspots, even though in like touristy area like Marina Bay Sands, Chinatown, and even along the stretch of Orchard, I feel there's a loss of local community feeling there.
Okay.
Yeah,
I get
so-
what you mean.
Yeah, because I mean you can literally see the difference between like the locals and the foreigners in these places.
It didn't literally feel like home. It just felt like you're walking around in another country.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I get what you mean. So my definition of a ghost town is if it's all closed and there's no business, I don't really care who is there and all. It's just that, if it's quiet, yeah. So I guess by both of our definitions, it's a yes and a no.
Exactly. If it is indeed a ghost town, do you think that is it a good time for tourists to visit Singapore during this CNY break? Because as we all know, it's quite a long break, like for us. Will it be an appropriate duration or a period for foreigners to travel to Singapore?
Let's bring a little to your touch on that. I think for tourists, right,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make any difference for them. The only difference that I've seen so far is one or two shops are closed. But let's be real for a bit. I think they're spoiled for choice when it comes to shopping in Singapore. So what if one store's closed? We've seen the options earlier today. Another outlet will be open.
Yeah.
We've seen again the options. They only close for the day. They can stay here for the week and
Yeah.
come back tomorrow. So honestly speaking, I think it could be even a plus point for them to come here if you're the type of tourist who prefers a slightly quieter,
A quieter pace.
a slower pace.
Yeah. Correct.
Because mind you, Singapore is extremely fast paced.
So would you recommend to kind of plan out their itinerary in advance, knowing that if certain places are closed, certain businesses are not open?
Yeah, I think the accurate term is expect some changes.
Even if the malls are closed or whatever, I mean you still have the bigger tourist attractions like your
Yeah.
Gardens by the Bay.
Yes, the
Your-
attractions are still, they remain
Yeah.
open. transits to
Sentosa
easy.
Island.
Yeah,
The zoo, I assume zoo is open.
it is, right? Where all
I
the
assume the
monkeys
zoo
went.
is open. For us, like MBS, we all know it's an iconic place. It's a hotspot for tourists. I don't even see that place would ever close down or
Yeah.
ever go to sleep.
So, after spending the day exploring, what's the verdict? Is Singapore still a ghost town during Chinese New Year, or has the city evolved to keep up with modern demands? From what I've seen, while tradition still holds strong in some areas, others have adapted to the changing times and the growing global crowd. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think businesses should stay open during this year and why? Or should they take the time to honor the tradition, rest, and even spend time with the families?